Yes, people, we are here in the self-proclaimed most famous gym in the world, Binous, in for a little posterior day. Glutes, hamstrings, back, taking on RDLs. Let's get straight into it. I always start off these sessions some dynamic stretches, especially on a day when I've got a big exercise like RDLs coming up. We want to be 100% switched on. We don't want any gaps in the armor. So we're starting off today, lying hamstring curls into the abductor. Get our hamstrings, get our glutes firing. Then we take on the bread and butter, the Romanian deadlift. Then we get into the fun stuff, a little bit of back. No biceps today. So we're just climbing up on these warm-up sets. Hit a couple different weights, and you want to really nail your execution on your warm-ups. You don't want to half-ass this shit. It's like the difference of when you're driving outside or if you're in a driving test. Like, you want to make sure you're nailing every single aspect leading up to these working sets. So if there's anything that's not quite warmed up, anything that you're not connecting with too well, you can find out a little bit earlier. So when you get into those working sets, there's no messing about. We've got 3 sets on here, then onto the abductor. These are priming exercises. So if anything, we want to connect to these better than anything else in the session. We want to make sure that we're taking our hamstrings, taking our glutes through that full range of motion, getting as much blood pumped in there before the heavy loading coming up. You only need a couple reps on each weight as well. I never understand when people do like 10, 15 reps for a warm-up. Gonna get gassed out. Good day for out here in Binous now. It's not too busy after the Dubai Pro. Feels like everyone took a couple days off. More than enough space. Especially with some of these days, you're shoulder to shoulder in here. Onto our first working set. Last time around we got 50 for 9, but tail end of this health phase. If I can match it, that's a big win. Today we started a new phase, a little bump in food. Back out of this health phase. Ready to start pushing shit up again. But for now, I'll take 9 on here. I'll even take 8 if the execution's perfect. Time to get Kelly on the go. A little bit of Kelly C. Ooh, focus. Control, breathe. Big brace, drive, squeeze. Oh, gosh. Oh. The goal on exercise like this, fail in that shortened range. In that contraction, you don't want to get any deeper than you can. And afterwards, when you failed in the shortened range, you still got that whole length and range to hit a couple partials. If you got it in you, if you got the composure, go for it. Don't even know how many reps that was. It was at least 7 or 8. 2 back off sets, big drop. We'll go down to 30 kgs for 2 sets. See how many reps we get here. During a session like this, I can easily go through 2 or 3 of these. It's just so hot in here. I say that as I'm wearing a hoodie, but this is part of my mysterious deadlift aesthetic. Really want to get the most out of this in terms of stability. You want to keep your hips fixed against this pad, grip onto those handles and pull yourself in, so there's absolutely no chance of this weight moving you out of your starting position. Same thing with where you put your heels. You want to find that spot, keep it there the whole way through the set. and in these back off sets. So it matters that little bit extra. Oh! Oh! Yeah. We'll drop the weight a little bit for this last set. I don't want to undershoot it and then sign up for like a 5-minute set where I'm doing 20 plus reps. During that last set, the mic would have picked up that I'm listening to Beyonce under here. Oh, a bit of Avril Lavigne. Oh yes. This hat is only here to keep these headphones on my head, because there's nothing more frustrating than these falling off. Suddenly I'm going from listening to my favorite song, just hearing a bunch of blokes grunting, and I can hear myself grunting. Nothing ruins a set quite like that. Yeah. Because I'm having too much fun. Yeah. Every single rep here. Squeeze. So this exercise, not the typical machine that I would use. I'd actually use the other abductor, but we maxed it out. We chucked a 25 play on, gym pinned it, and we were still busting 20 reps. So the next course for progression was change machines, a little bit of a different resistance profile, and this one is just quite heavy. So instead of messing around with that machine any longer, switch to this one full time. We got 2 sets on here, both high rep, 12 to 15. Let's get some blood pumping into the glutes. Then couple pull-ups, and then into RDLs. This is our last chance to switch on our lower body, because we want those RDLs, we want to be able to direct that tension into our glutes, into our hamstrings, the entirety of our posterior chain, and the only way to do that is to get a little bit of feel for it, and no better way. So we got 2 sets here. Oh. And I could do with a bit of extra glute. Project Jiggle Back, well underway. A little bit more, there we go. Don't know why they put this machine facing into the hall where everyone's walking. Don't need to be airing out my crotch to every other gym goer. We'd be a little bit more comfortable if we were facing that way or some shit. They move machines around, but there's never any method to the madness. They just put shit where they want it. You'd think that there'd be a reason. It used to be, this was like the chest, shoulders, like a push room, then the back and biceps, and then we had the whole other one for legs. Then they just started mixing things up. And some days I'll walk up to the spot to go hit the machine and it's just not there. I need to go ask them if they've replaced it or if they've just moved it. So if you just walk around here, you can spend all day looking for a machine. Let's get this first set in. Like I said, I've just started using this machine, so I don't have any direction for how many reps of any given weight. So we're just gonna experiment and hit failure. And then next week, we'll use those numbers to instruct us on where to go. You know, I said next week I'll be able to use the dates from this session to instruct me on how many reps to do. Would have helped if I counted, but it was at least a productive set. We got 1 more here. We need to slowly start switching on for this big set of RDLs. Just one set there. So you have to hit the nail on the head. This machine's a little bit hard to get stability on. The other machine, the weight stacks in front of you, so you can lean over, grab onto it, push yourself into the right position. Here, the handles are too far back, and if I grab onto the bench, then I'm restricting my ability to abduct. So we'll have to have a bit of a play around with it, see what's the best way to go about it. But this does load that shortened position really, really nicely. Here's my intra workout for the day. Usually I'd have a Gatorade or some EAAs and a carb drink, but got some Gatorade gummies. 30 odd grams of carbs. They say there's electrolytes in it. Don't know how that would work, but it does the trick. I'm not just eating sweets in the gym for fun. There's a purpose to it. That set fell off a cliff. You go from flying out that bottom range, and then suddenly it just feels so heavy that that weight's not moving anywhere. But does the trick. Let's get ready for these RDLs now. 2 sets of assisted pull-ups, because I'm currently too heavy to do these body weight. And we want to do these with a couple reps in reserve. We're not doing these to failure. So just to get a little bit of scapular retraction, get a bit of blood flowing into the back before these RDLs. Just get a little bit of feel for it. This is the calm before the storm. So I need to switch on, make sure everything's firing. Upper back, glutes, hamstrings. Make sure my hips aren't tight. I don't want this weight to shift me into the wrong position. And also, you have to turn into a bit of a nutcase for a set like RDLs, especially if you only have one. No chance to miss. I think last time I got 3 plates. I think it was like 140 for 10. Anything that we can get close to matching that with good execution or better execution. Because currently scale weight's been climbing down. We've been running this health phase as a temporary natty, and realistically taking strength progressions 10 weeks into a health phase, unlikely. So we're taking progressions in any other way possible. We'll do one more set here, then we're ready. Sweat staying off. That is horrid. There's only one deadlift bar in this whole gym, and it's this one. It pains me when I see this deadlift bar on the overhead press, or someone's got it on the flat bench. Put some respect on it. These warm-ups, we're gonna go 60, 80, 100, 120, 140. And that's our one set to hit it. Again, these warm-ups, it's your time to nail the execution so that when the bar's loaded, you are ready. Few reps on each one of these increments, all it takes. Raise, control. I'm already preparing myself when these headphones fall off my head at the end of a set. It's a visceral type of anger that I feel when that happens. But my ears are so sweaty that I'm just lubricating them straight off. This will come off soon enough. It's not worth the aesthetic or the aura anymore. Everything feels switched on today. Glad it's a bit quieter in here today for when I'm doing my deadlifts, because I'm known to go a little bit rabid. I need to get myself in a weird headspace to get the most out of RDLs, so I apologize for any weird things I might say to myself during these sets. But to quote Jack Thorburn, you have to train like a bit of a nutcase. Trick of the trade, do your deadlift with 10 kg black bumper plates. I'm going to be pulling 5 plates. The denominations are not specified. This gym bag is disgusting. These absolutely reek. I don't know how to clean them. They're made of leather, man. Ever since I was a young guy, everywhere I go, all I hear is fuck jumper. Yes. Now it's time. Sometimes if I need to, I'll stop off on 130 before I hit 140, but we're flying today. I'm sniffling like a toddler. Still nursing this flu from a week ago. I'm so obsessive that I can't deal with having two different clips on either side. I'd feel a lot more comfortable if they were the same. Big set. Now we need to switch on, stay on. Gonna fasten these headphones so I can at least have them on for 70% of the set. If they fall off at the start, I'll lose my head. Yes! Come on. Yep, yep. Stay on. One fucking set. One fucking set. Yep. Up. There we go. Considering the weight drop, considering the lack of exogenous compounds for the last almost 3 months, I'll take that. On a set like that where I comfortably hit failure, I know I did what I had to do. If my last rep goes flying up, clearly I left something in the tank. I'm happy with that. Very excited to run these up this next phase. This is going to be good. Can you tell how wet this shirt is? It's heavy. It's like 3 shades darker. A little wedge there means I can just slide them out. Without these, I'll be doing a couple more reps at RDLs just trying to get these fucking plates off. Usually I'd ask one of the big boys in here to grab the other side and we could chuck it on here and unrack it. But after that set, I don't think people want to interact with me. So, glutes out the way, hamstrings out the way, RDLs done and dusted. Now onto the back portion. We got T-bar row in, not my typical movement, but the other machine I was using, they took it out. And we used to have a Jim Lecco T-bar. Anyone that's used that knows how good that is. This one, but it's what we're working with. We're going to make the most of it. So first back exercise. We've got 2 or 3 more coming up. A little bit of rear delts and then calves. But 2 sets here to make the absolute most of them. One of my favorite cues on this is to think about not only pulling the weight towards you, but press your chest into that pad as hard as you possibly can. As the counterweight, you'll feel your lats light up, you'll have that extra stability. And then at the end of that eccentric, let your shoulders roll forward, that tiny bit, extra stretch over the upper back. I see too many people just hanging out in this range. Get that full stretch and drive yourself into that pad. Not too bad for a natty in a deficit. First day back on the sauce. A little bit of food, a little bit of extra food going in. 25-ish grams of carbs. We'll see everything titrate from here. Let's see what this looks like with a pump now. 2 sets here, one heavy, 6 to 8. One 12 to 15. But again, it's difficult to gauge my strength at the moment with the weight drop, with the health phase in place. So we just take what we can get. A little bit more. What's this, 55? I'm not even going to try and put my headphones on for this. It's just going to fall off, hit the machine, and I'm going to throw a tantrum. Yes. Oh, getting like an absolute swine. If I couldn't see, I think someone stabbed me in the back, so I just feel liquid flowing down me. Big drop, we'll take a big drop here. We only got 6 clean ones there. I think the guy who asked me if he can use this next has been put off by the amount of bodily fluids I've left on it. He switched machines, I reckon. Now that everyone that competed at the Dubai Pro, probably deloading this week, taking a little bit of a break, so they're not in the gym. So you don't see these Olympia level physiques, so I don't feel as much like the gym's house cat. I feel like an absolute youth around some of these bodybuilders. I love these 1MR leather straps, but they're a little bit too good. You tie them onto that machine a little bit too much and you're not getting out. So you've been handcuffed to it. Onto a bench supported unilateral lat pull down. And we've added in an intensity technique recently, a little rest pause. Don't want to add too much volume, but a rest pause is a good way to add a bit more of a stimulus without adding too much extra fatigue. Let's get this set up. So we got 2 sets each side, rest pause on the second one. Let me make sure, because we had some changes to the program yesterday. Yeah, 2 sets, 1 6 to 8. This one's gonna hurt. The cue that I'm thinking about is trying to get my elbow as far away from my hip as possible. To do that, push my hips back in the setup, drive my elbow forward and away from me. Then when I pull down, really tuck it into my pocket so I can get my lat as short as possible, which comes with a little bit of trunk rotation. We don't want to be too much, but as much as the lat requires. We're ready. Another tip on an exercise like this, the best way to get set up is start on an eccentric. So whatever hand you're starting with, grab it with the opposite hand, pull yourself into the bottom of the rep and start from there. Because your setup is a lot more comfortable when you're tucked in. Initiate the stretch and then pull back to that starting position. If you start up here, you're going to struggle to find that groove. Let's get straight in. The weight's still moving, stay on it. And if you finish that last concentric, still got an eccentric ahead of you. Not switched off until the end of that. This is one of those exercises that really polarizes the coaching and the bodybuilding community. People have all these different cues, all these different ways that they say is the best, based on biomechanics, based on anatomy, based on experience, based on feel. I've done it hundreds of different types of ways. This is the best way for me in terms of connection, in terms of loading, and it hurts like a bitch. Heard the people talking about keep your shoulder down the whole way through. Feels better if I let it go up. So I'm gonna stick to my anecdotal evidence. If I'm wrong, at least I enjoyed my sets that little bit more. Oh. Oh. One more set here. So rest, pause set. Gonna take a little 15, 20-second break after we hit failure. And then take as many reps as we can, whether it's 2 more, whether it's 20 more. We don't change the weight, don't change the setup, just straight back in. Oh. Oh. I timed these rest pauses by how many breaths I take. There's no point taking this leather cuff off. I mean the leather strap. Because I'm so tightly tied into it. It'll take me the whole 20 seconds to get back in. Oh, for them. On these exercises, we can get the muscles so short and still load it very effectively. They're the ones where the weight's still going to move. You're going to have some serious composure to fight through that pain. After this, we got low row, we got rear delt flies, we got calves. We stay switched on until that last set is dusted off. Sniffling like an absolute child. So annoying. You know you recover from an illness, but now you're just recovering the shit symptoms. Sniffles and your voice sounds weird and you got all kinds of mucus. Oh, and we're done there. Now we go to a little upper back row. So we got our last big exercise of the day. Upper back low row. Trying to target the rhomboids, target the traps here. Last bit of volume before you hit rear delts and calves. 2 sets, 1 6 to 8, 1 12 to 15. Love this machine because you got these pedals, so you can set yourself up so much better. So you're not reaching over, but you also get that extra range of motion then. Where same as the T-bar row, wrap your shoulders around that pad, and then you get a bigger range of motion to drive through. Oh. In that shortened range, I get a lot of questions on why I like pause at the top. And it's not that I'm pausing for that long. It's just, I know I can shorten that muscle a tiny bit more if I stay on it. So I get to that point, it's like 95% contracted. But if I just stick on it, I can get that extra little bit and get a little bit shortened. So I'm not physically thinking about how long I stick at the top. Just trying to get it all the way through that range of motion as long as it takes. One more set. This is another machine that I don't use. I swapped to this one. And it's lovely having a piece of kit where you can adjust the seat, adjust the chest pad, adjust the handles. But now every time I want to use it, I need to set it up like I'm getting on a spaceship. It's a little bit too much. There's a balance. Same thing with the Prime kit. It's nice being able to mess with the resistance profile, but now I have to do it every single time. This is our last big set, but I see too many people switching off towards the end of their sessions. Sure, this is a back off set, like 6 exercises in, but if you make the most of this every single session for the next year, imagine how much of a difference it would make compared to just half-assing this. So just give yourself a little kick up the ass at the end of the session. It's not done till it's done. Those exercises, those sets are in the program for a reason. This is our last big set, but I see too many people switching off towards the end of their sessions. Sure, this is a back off set, like 6 exercises in, but if you make the most of this every single session for the next year, imagine how much of a difference it would make compared to just half-assing this. So just give yourself a little kick up the ass at the end of the session. It's not done till it's done. Those exercises, those sets are in the program for a reason. delt flies. Gonna be doing reverse pec deck just for ease of use. And the gym's getting a little bit busy now. Trying to find cables, it's gonna be impossible. And even, the thing is, if you don't need to use cables when the gym's this busy, just don't. Do you know how annoying it is when you're trying to do flies or something, and someone's using one side of the cables, and there's a whole line of people waiting, just to make life easier for everyone. We'll hit a reverse pec deck just for today. We're on the old reverse pec deck for the old rear delts. We're on the prime kit, being as optimal as possible. I've put it here on pin 3 for any biomechanics nerds that are wondering. Here, as much as I want to get a good stimulus in my rear delta, it is just a case of going through the motions, getting the absolute most out of the muscle. Obviously very fatigued, dehydrated, starving, tired and grumpy, but we can still be productive here. We got 3 sets, and then we'll do a little bit of a drop set, a little bit of a partial, just to get every single last drop out of it. And it's a nice piece of kit. It's actually got a handle where you can press up against it. This is that bit of the session where it doesn't feel as rewarding. You don't have a pump. You don't have much motivation to push yourself because you feel like you've been productive up until now. But like I said, there's a reason these are in the program. There's a reason for the amount of volume, and the driver for growth is always intensity, so make sure it's there every single set. I'm gonna take all of that back when we're about to do calves in a minute. When we've got it on this third pin, the resistance profile sets it up so that it's the heaviest in this beginning range. So if you just stay on it, you will be able to finish that rep. At least for a couple where it really starts to slow down at the start, where it feels like you're gonna hit a wall, but then you just slide through the end range. So just stay on it, especially when you have the chance to make the end range a little bit lighter. Oh gosh. That burp tasted like my pre and my Gatorade gummies. Why did it make me hungrier? That's disgusting. One more set. Pump out as many reps as we can. Then we just got calves. Then we fuck off home, eat some dead birds and rice. If you really want to feel your... To be fair, I say this cue for any delt movements. Whether it's lateral raises, rear delts. Think about driving your hands as far away from your body as possible. So on here, you're reaching forward, and then as you're pulling the weight back, you're not bending your arm to row it here. You're just thinking about pushing them as far away as possible. Same with lateral raises. I always tell people, pretend you're scraping your knuckles on the ground and then up the wall away from you. Oh, let's put that to action. If I had a stalker, they could very easily find me around the gym by just following the trail of sweat I'm leaving behind. Like I'm Hansel and Gretel. Last exercise of the day. We're gonna dig deep for this one. 2-3 sets of calves. I think we'll do 2 in a drop set. Heavy loading set, little back off set. This one very much the same as the rear delts. Going through the motion, big stretch, big contraction. Little stimulus in the calves. Obviously the systemic fatigue is built up. Calves are still fresh. Won't be after this though. Another exercise which is gonna fucking hurt. Even though the weight's moving. Composure. Oh. Sorry, I can't give you guys any action shots of big calves. It's not my thing. Not at 6'3", being 80% lower limb. But I've seen some men's physique athletes in here with some tragic calves. So at least we're one stage above them. I also can't stand the people that say calves are genetic. Sure, there's a bigger genetic component. No one's going to train their calves and they're not going to grow. Same as any muscle group. You might not have the innate affinity to growing it as easily as others, but there's some physiological principles that are guaranteed. Oh! A little stretch at the end of the set. Add that in as a little intensity technique. Because you get to a point where you're either just going to be using the elasticity of your Achilles to get that weight up, or you're not going to get into that shortened range to really get the contraction out anyway. But we all know the hypertrophic abilities of just a heavy loaded stretch. So might as well put that to use on an exercise like this. One more. I was going to do a drop set, but I'd rather have a heavy loading set on these. Rather than just forcing out a bunch of lightweight. A couple partial reps and shit. One more and we get out of here. Could demolish a couple boxes of those cookies right now. What flavors are we working with? Peanuts and chocolate, caramel peanuts. Oh, white cream. Probably don't call it that. Peanut white cream. Pause. That is crazy. Oh, last set. Big stretch, big squeeze. Oh. Having these sets on camera give me the extra kick to actually train properly and not to let myself off. But we're done. Very good session in the books. So that is our posterior session wrapped up. Very, very productive. RDLs. I think we're down a couple reps, but we made it work. Like I said, today is day one of our new phase. Back on cycle, out of this health phase. Food slowly titrating up. A lot to look forward to. Session's going to get very exciting. Like the video. Drop a comment what you want to see next time. Click the subscribe button. Like I said, we got all types of videos coming out. Bodybuilding, non-bodybuilding, training, educational, entertaining. So follow along. And we'll get more sessions out here in Binous. Until next time, peace.